adoption of the agenda for the July 10th meeting, moved by Deputy Mayor Locke, seconded by Councillor Tessier. Are there any additions to the agenda outside of our little digital iPad? Because I don't see any. Nothing at all? All right, I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion is carried. First item of the day then would be the minutes of our June 26th council meeting, moved by Councillor Stoyle, seconded by Councillor Ledwell. Are there any errors or omissions? And we're just talking errors or omissions for the public council meeting of June 26th. Any at all? How good are they getting? The minutes are perfect. All those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carried. Business arising then from the meeting of June 26th. Any business arising at this stage? We are moving on. Thank you very much. Okay, no business arising. The first item we have on the agenda today, then, Council in proclamations and presentations would have to deal with all of the fine folks down here in the gallery, and I'm going to turn things over to Councillor Ledwell, I believe, who's going to do an introduction today. Would you go right ahead, Councillor Ledwell? The floor is yours.
Thank you, Your Worship. As Acting Chair of the Planning and Land Use Development Committee, I'm pleased to be able to introduce the 2012 Green Team to the City of Mount Pearl. Last year, the City launched two very successful initiatives, and of course, that was to raise awareness and increase environmental stewardship as it pertains to the Waterford River. The first initiative took place during the months of July and August, a Green Team that was dedicated to the cleanup of the Waterford River in Mount Pearl, clean up garbage and debris, and undertook several environmental awareness initiatives in the city. In addition to that, the city launched the Waterford River Cleanup Blitz, which is something that we're going to continue to hold. Of course, this past year we brought in over 60 volunteers, including residents, business owners, community groups, council members, and city staff, and of course our very own Green Team. For the second consecutive year, Mount Pearl has been successful in obtaining a Green Team dedicated to the cleanup of the Waterford River. This project is funded through the Conservation Corps of Newfoundland and Labrador, and of course is sponsored by the City of Mount Pearl. At this time, it gives me great pleasure on behalf of Council and the staff to, and also of the Conservation Corps of Newfoundland and Labrador, to launch the 2012 Green Team project. This year's project will continue the physical cleanup of the river, including the known hotspots for littering along the main stem of the river. This year, we're expanding the project scope to the tributaries and the wetlands and the open spaces around these areas. Most of these tributaries and associated wetlands are the backbones of the city's walkway and open space systems, and they're popular walking trail destinations. Of course, there will be special attention given to the area around Powers Pond, which is the city's largest open space system. Please keep your eyes and ears open over the course of the next 2 months. Residents may meet and see the Green Team along the city's trails, of course doing their work cleaning up the rivers, the Waterford River, and you'll see them out at the various city activities, of course, during the summer, and City Days being chief amongst them. So I would now like to call upon Team Leader Kristen Murphy to introduce her team and to provide a few more particulars on the subject.
Kristen, why don't you, thank you, Councillor, why don't you come up here? We're going to get you to use this microphone, which is going to make it easy. And you can introduce the good folks with you. Kristen, go right ahead.
My name is Kristen Murphy. I'm the Mount Pearl Green Team leader. Right here is Carolina Squire. She's a member of the team, and this is Thomas Dunster. We also have another member of the team, Justin, but he's unable to be with us today. So usually there's 4 of us, and we're working mainly along the tributaries of Mount Pearl. We've already finished a few cleanups so far. We'll also be going to the summer day camps in Mount Pearl and doing presentations on climate change, as well as we'll be prominent at City Days.
We think that's absolutely marvelous, and it's our second year having a Green Team initiative in the city of Mount Pearl. It's proven itself last year to be successful. You have a reputation to live up to. The team that was here ahead of you did a really good job. I'm pretty confident the team this year, you guys are going to do a really good job as well, and we're delighted that you're going to be spending most of your summer with us. Council, does there anybody have anything to add? Why is Connie looking at me with a camera? Are we getting snaps taken with this group? We want to go down front to do this. Come on. Right, let's do this down front. Don't mind the internet thing. We're going to do this down here. Come on, councilors, come on. Everybody get on. Hello. This is our team, not my team. I should have worn green today. Right? Let's put the deputy mayor up front. He's in green. Come on, you guys there with me. All right. You're going to be able to be seeing Lucy?
Lucy and I are just so very tall back here.
Yes, you are. Quite tall. All right. Everybody's fine. Thanks, guys. Good luck. And thank you, Councillor Ledwell. Correspondence, none listed on the agenda today. We're going to begin with Public Works. Councillor Walsh is not here. Councillor Tessier, the floor is going to be yours.
Thank you, Your Worship.
And I do believe that Deputy Mayor Locke is. Am I right about that? No, I'm wrong about that, aren't I? It is Councillor Aker is the alternate. He's not here. Councillor Stoyles, it's going to be you. I think that's how it's going to work, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
Councillor Tessier.
First item, Your Worship. The second bulk garbage for the year, the second bulk garbage collection is underway right now.
Tell me about it.
Yes, that's right. We drive around the city and we certainly see piles and piles of garbage. But you know what the beauty of that is that it's going to the landfill as opposed to any kind of indiscriminate dumping, which we don't want to see. So, of course, we're encouraging people to put items to the curb the night before the collection period, certainly not before if they can help it. And if there's any questions or concerns about our bulk garbage regulations, all they have to do is look online on our city website or certainly call the Public Works Department for clarification on what can and cannot go out and how it must be disposed of properly, including the bundling of trees and branches and things like that. So if they, or any other loose items. So if anybody has any questions, they can certainly give us a call or go online on our website to have a look at that.
Councillor Stoyles. And that seems to be the case. Councillor Tessier.
Well, I mean, I think Councillor Stoyles articulates a very good point. If anybody is going around, and we know that it is certainly a reality during bulk garbage collection, if anybody's going around to look to see what they can salvage for themselves, we would certainly strongly discourage them from creating a bigger mess, especially if homeowners have been very diligent putting out their bulk garbage in a responsible manner. The next item, Your Worship, is the automated garbage collection. We're going to give you an update. Phase 1B is set to roll out. The carts are going to be delivered within the next few weeks. I think we had a public meeting here with the residents from that area last week. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend. But the city is going to be carrying out the delivery of the carts, and they're going to be accompanied, of course, by a representative from Newfoundland and Labrador Housing, because some of those homes are owned by NLHC, and they are rented to tenants. And, of course, if anybody has any questions, they can certainly drop by City Hall or the Reed Centre, where they can view the carts, because they're currently on display in those areas as well.
Excellent. I had just a comment, and maybe for the benefit of residents. I had a phone call just this afternoon from a gentleman who is disabled, expressing concern over this cart system and how he would handle it.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was surprised to discover that as a result of the cart system, instead of having to have your garbage out between 6 and 8 a.m. in the morning, you can now put it out in the evening. Mm-hmm. He was concerned that his partner, who works night shift, was going to run into a real problem with having to deal with these carts. Till I pointed out to him, well, now, on her way to work at 7:30 at night, she can roll it out and put it in the corner, and the next morning it'll be picked up, and when she comes home, she can roll it back in. Mm-hmm. So hopefully some misconceptions and whatnot will be done away with as we move through the process. I like the fact we're doing it in steps as opposed to here's a citywide initiative.
Yeah.
You know?
And I believe that a lot of people are probably concerned about the unknown. This is change, and change sometimes can be a little bit scary. But I think once the practice is put in place and people get used to it, it'll be like the residents in Labrador City. It'll just be so commonplace that it'll just be a non-issue. And I think in the long run, as we, which is one of the reasons why we are going through with this endeavor, it's going to make our city a cleaner, neater place to be.
That is the hope, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Comment on that, Your Worship.
Councillor Ledwell.
I just wanted to make mention, I, along with Councillor Stoyles and Councillor Walsh, attended the meeting that Councillor Tessier referenced, and I think one comment that really put some of the residents at ease was the fact that our staff, along with a representative from the housing, were going to be going around and personally delivering the carts and explaining how where we can put them and how they operate and how the system works. And I think a lot of the concerns, there was a bit of relief there with some of the residents. So I think if we assure, the other residents perhaps that weren't at the meeting that this is the way it's going to be happening, some of their fears with the rollout will be eased a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Councillor Stoyles. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting challenge, isn't it, Jerry? Well, if you see Jerry Ansell's carcass swinging from a light pole coming up Commonwealth, people will be able to say, I guess that whole garbage thing didn't work.
Oh.
Councillor Tessier. No pressure.
No worries, no worries. Director Antle, no worries. This is not new technology. We keep saying it. This is not new technology. This is being done.
No, but we're blaming it on him.
No, this
and
is
he's
done
not
in
new
many,
either.
Many areas. This has been done in many areas of the country, many areas with climate very similar to Newfoundland.
Oh, even
Labrador.
worse. Even
Yeah.
worse. I'm quite confident it's going to go fine.
All right, summer maintenance program is currently underway. Of course, lawn repairs from winter snow clearing are underway as well, and the city sweeper is out daily to keep our streets and sidewalks clean and free of debris and rocks as best we can at this point. And finally, we've received a number of complaints from residents in the past few weeks with regards to roaming animals. We have to be aware that the animal control regulations prohibit animals from roaming. Of course, we've said it, this is age-old. Dogs, everybody knows, or if they're fully aware, need to be tethered. Sometimes people don't recognize that with cats, but it is indeed the case. Cats have to be tethered. They can't be outside roaming the streets. So we want to make sure that residents are aware of that because we don't want their animals impounded. That's the last thing we want to do, actually. And it's, for one, it's also dangerous for the animals as well. I mean, we don't want any animals being injured by, motorists or anything like that. So it's really important that people recognize that their animals cannot be roaming freely in our city streets. And of course, that people need to clean up after their animals as well. We have a lot of pedestrians. Mount Pearl is a very, very proud pedestrian-friendly city, and we want to make sure that people are being responsible as well, cleaning up after their pets when they're walking them. And that's just for the information of the public and council.
Councillor, I'm going to turn to staff. Somebody might be able to answer the question. I recall we had a discussion about when somebody gets an animal impounded and they come to our facility and they want the animal back. Do we automatically then license that animal, register the animal, collect the fee for the license? Do we do that, or do we simply, they pay the impounding fee, they take the animal, and then the animal could end up being in our clutches yet again? Do we not, at that point, register these animals? Yeah, I'm not.
Actually, that's actually not a bad idea. If we were to add on to the impounding fee a registration fee, if they're not already registered
And register
with the
the
city,
animal.
put that on top of it as well. Because I mean, again, it's for the safety of the animals as well. If they're lost and we find them, it's very easy then to track their owners, track their home. But of course, we don't want any animal can get out by accident, but we want to make sure that it's not by habit.
There you go. Councillor Stiles?
allowed is in the daytime between 8 and 4, and if somebody do have a problem in their neighborhood with their flower beds and things like that, we do pass the cages out, and our staff will drop it off 8 o'clock in the morning and pick the cage back up again at 4 if the animals have time. If the cats are roaming in between that, and we find a major problem on the street, I think people look at doing something then if it's continual occurrence. But that's something that we've been doing for years.
Deputy Mayor.
I had a call as well the weekend past. I wasn't at home, but I got on my message machine. Someone called. I think it was Sunday. They found a stray dog, and they questioned who do they call in that case. Is there someone, on duty that they call? Should they call the municipal enforcement officers? What's the procedure in that regard if they come up with a stray animal?
Mr. Randall.
Yes, there's an after-hours call service through Telelink. They call our after-hours number, and we'd call either our standby crew or else we call our animal control.
Actually, well, my understanding, if I may, is that do they not only respond if the animal is injured or in distress? Yes. I think that the animal needs to be injured.
Injured.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure right now.
No, I believe that there needs to be that there.
That could be the
There has
case.
to be
I'm
a
not
tra-
sure.
Has been an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
They were just wondering. They had this stray dog, and they asked what to do with it. They didn't want to hold on to it, keep it in their house, but at the same time they didn't want to release it. So they were just curious as to what our procedures were in that regard. So I'll wait to hear back from
All
Ms.
right.
Randall.
Find
You know,
out.
and the other side of this, I mean, I know we're beating this to death now, but the other side of this is I know somebody recently who felt very strongly that they might have struck an animal at night. Got out of their car, looked around exhaustively for the animal to see if it was injured, to see if it needed medical care, couldn't find it anywhere. And that person I know, I mean, it's a friend of mine, and that person is still bothered by it, because that's a disturbing thing to feel that you've hit a small animal. So we don't want that. It's not just the animal; it's the person that may potentially hit it as well. I mean, it can be very, very upsetting. So it's just so important that people are responsible pet owners. I mean, if we have a pet, it's because we like them, and they're part of the family. We want to make sure that we take care of them.
Well, I got one in the custody battle. So
You got one in the custody battle.
they gave up the pet.
Listen, I told a firefighter once if he ever had to come to my house for professional reasons and could save either the dog or the husband,
Save the dog.
save the dog. Save
Next
the dog.
item.
Happy anniversary. It is my anniversary today. I'll be in the doghouse on my anniversary. But
There you go.
That's it for Public Works. I can go on to...
Can't be. Is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
it
Community
Public Works?
Services is next. It's still you.
Still me.
Sorry about that. I went on.
That's all right. For the information of the public, the Holy Sepulchre Annual Outdoor Mass is scheduled for July 24th at 7 o'clock. We all know the traffic congestion that comes with this public mass. It's a very important service for the people who want to go in and pay respects to loved ones. But it is going to cause a lot of traffic congestion. The entranceway to the cemetery on Topsail Road is going to be reduced to 2 lanes, and from 4 to 9, the Black Marsh Road and Topsail Road intersection will be open to eastbound traffic only. So that's for the information of the public for that mass on July 24th, the evening of July 24th. They're expecting about 12,000 people actually to attend. So that's a lot of people. So again, if people can avoid it, they absolutely should avoid it, that area, if they're looking for through traffic. The next item is the 20-minute makeover. We're delighted to report that the 20-minute makeover for this year, which was held between April 28th and June 30th, was a huge success. Over 3,000 bags of garbage were collected, and a couple of truckloads with larger pieces were also collected. We had 2,000 people, more than 2,000 people participating from community groups, businesses, schools, federal government departments and agencies, and church groups, families, and individual citizens. And we want to thank, of course, our longtime major sponsor, Tim Hortons. And I also want to thank the crew from Public Works as well and Parks for being so accommodating to the people who want to participate in this particular initiative. It's a huge help for us. We know that after the winter there's certainly a lot of litter that was buried under the snow for so many months, and it's not easy to clean that up, and it's certainly not a glamorous job, but it's an important job, and we're just delighted to have the support of our residents with this particular initiative once again. And the next item, Your Worship, Mount Pearl residents and the general public should be advised that the Telly 10 Road Race is happening on Sunday, July 22nd, starting at 7 a.m. in Paradise. They're going to come right through Topsail Road, through the Mount Pearl borders as well, and they'll leave the Mount Pearl border at Dunn's Lane. It's anticipated that the road is going to be closed from 8 a.m. until 10 a.m. So if anybody needs to leave Mount Pearl for an emergency or any other reason like that, we'd encourage them to use an alternate route, Brookfield Road, Richard Nolan Drive, Pitts Memorial Drive. They're expecting 3,000 racers again this year. I will not be one of them. I don't know if anybody on council or with staff are planning on running the telly. Jason Silver, look at that. And Lucy is running the telly. Good
Done
Lord.
This will be 4 years in a row.
I will cheer you on, happily, while I'm drinking a cup of tea.
I'm actually gonna drive the route. Is that okay?
No, you're not allowed.
I always said,
I'm gonna
sure.
drive it.
You cannot even ride on a bike.
I said, you can do it, yeah. I mean, there's people who accompany actually runners on their bikes with
I'm
water.
gonna go. I'm gonna drive it like 3 times.
You should. I always said that if I did the telly, it would take me hours, but by the time I stopped for lunch, had a nap,
That's right.
That's
right.
Geez, right?
I'm
Battery
hiring
Park's a long way.
Councillor Ledwell to do it for me.
And there you go. Anyway, that's for the information. That's for the information of the public as well, and of course we'd encourage.
Next year, buddy, me and you. Next year, we'll walk it anyway.
I take your challenge.
All right.
We'll walk it. But anyway, we encourage residents of Mount Pearl, of course, who are not participating to get up and cheer people on who are. And we want to wish everybody well who is participating, including Jason and Lucy. We'll cheer them on and we'll look forward to the results.
Amen.
And that is it for community services.
We are up to corporate services. Deputy Mayor Locke.
Thank you, Your
and
Worship.
Hold on now. Aker gone.
Yep.
Alternate Walsh is gone. Ledwell, it's you this time.
Okay. Just one item here, Your Worship, and that's the invoices for our approval. There are 12 outlined there, totaling $1,299,725.52, and I move that the amount be accepted as presented.
Here's how fast we can spend $1.2 million. All right, moved by Deputy Mayor Locke. It is seconded by Councillor Ledwell. Question or comment again on any items listed 1 through 12. This is rather large invoices. I find this particular one interesting. April invoice for water consumption, $165,000. May invoice for water consumption, $179,986. The people of Mount Pearl must think, they think this stuff is free, right? They don't realize that it's far from free. Our June payment for regional fire service, folks, $334,000. Just to let people know that there ain't nothing free, not even a free lunch. Questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll call it. All those in favor? Contrary-minded, motion is carried. And that's all there was, Deputy Mayor? Okay, we're going to go to engineering services. Councillor Ledwell, you're up.
Thank you, Your Worship, and kind of falls out of your comments a moment ago about water. Of course, it's the one issue we have on our agenda for this time is related to water consumption as well. And it's not a localized issue, so to speak, here in the city of Mount Pearl. It's very much a regional issue, and there's been a lot of, commentary on whether the landscaping companies locally here in Mount Pearl and in the region are using treated water, using our hydrants for the in their work that they do. Basically, the engineering services staff have looked into the issue, and they've contacted Russell's Landscaping, some of the other landscaping companies in the area, and have discovered that basically the companies are not using the hydrants here in Mount Pearl. That's for a couple of different reasons. Number one, they had to get a permit from the city in order to use the hydrants. Also, we do have a requirement here with the city that it be our staff that be the ones that hook up the equipment in order to gain access through the hydrant to the water. So I guess it's probably easier for some of the companies to go elsewhere, whether it be to the city of St. John's or to other municipalities in the region to get their water. So one thing that we can confirm at this point is that they're not using the water from the hydrants here in the city in their work. Our staff have also contacted Landscaping Newfoundland and Labrador, and they're polling their members, doing some research, trying to find out exactly who's doing what, where the water's coming from, and what they're all doing. Landscape Newfoundland and Labrador is actually very pleased that we called, because they expected this to be an issue going forward for many municipalities, and they're very interested in working with us and with the Regional Water Committee, all our partners around the region, to try and come up with some solutions, because they see the issue with water as well, and they're delighted we're on board. And certainly, as an engineering services division, we're going to do what we can to work with our partners to reduce the use of water in this area.
Good information and good work. Thank you. That it for engineering? We're up to planning and land use. You're back on your feet again, Councillor Ledwell. Everybody doing double shifts this week. Deputy Mayor Locke, you're going to be seconder on the committee today. Councillor Ledwell.
Okay, the first item for planning is related to a notice of motion that Councillor Aker brought forward May 29th, 2012 at that meeting. It's related to an amendment to do with accessory building height for the Mount Pearl development regulations. And it's to do with sections 6.22, first of all, for the accessory building height. We're going to delete the text and replace it with the exception of radio and television antenna, an accessory building shall have a maximum height of 3.5 meters. That is down from 4.5 meters. And then the second amendment is section 6.24, where we go with the exception of radio and television antenna, an accessory building shall have a maximum height of 3.5 meters. Again, that's down from 4.5 meters. There was a briefing session that was set for Tuesday, June 26th. We did not have any residents express any interest in attending the session, although we did have one written representation from a gentleman in the city. He advised he wasn't going to be attending the session, but did say in his written representation he would like to see it up to 4.7 meters from 4.5. As a committee, we felt that that wouldn't necessarily be suitable in an urban setting, in a city setting. So we recommended that we proceed with the amendment as a committee to go down to 3.5. So the recommendation is that the Planning and Land Use Development Committee recommends that the proposed amendment attached to Mount Pearl Development Regulations 2010, Amendment Number 7, 2012, be adopted by Council, and I so move.
Moved by Councillor Ledwell, seconded by Deputy Mayor Locke. Any question or comment? Hearing none, we'll call it. All in favour? Contrary-minded, motion is carried.
The next item on the planning report is the development permit list. You see it there in the kit. There is just one development permit, and I so move.
Moved, seconded, all in favour? Contrary-minded, motion carried.
And the final item is the building construction and for both residential and commercial, the permit list, for a total this period of $1,626,922.43, and I so move.
Moved, seconded, all in favour? Contrary-minded, motion is carried.
Aye, and that's everything for planning, Your Worship.
And that concludes committee reports, I believe, does it not? We are up to new business. Last week we started with Councillor Tessier. I'm going to start with Councillor Stoyles. Councillor Stoyles?
Yes, actually, I got a couple of things, Your Worship. First thing, I'd like for you to send out congratulations or thank you to the Holy Heart of Mary Choir. A large number of them are residents in Mount Pearl. I know several of them, I think there was 62 of them went away to Europe, and they were the only choir representing Candor, and there was 95 choirs all across the world there, and they have their website and everything. And like I said, there's a large number of them from Mount Pearl, and they've done a tremendous job. And just wanted to say,
what were they participating in? Some choral competition?
They started the choir back, I think it was in 1995. They started this choir, and it's over 100 people who've gone to Holy Heart over the years, and they do a lot of charity work in the province and in the communities. And I think the lady that I was chatting with, who had gone on the trip, she said a good third of them are from Mount Pearl. Out of the 60 that went, she said it was over 20 of them from Mount Pearl.
You provide us with the address, please?
I will.
Yep.
They have their
And
own
you say
website.
there's a website with information?
They have a website and everything. Is only get into their website.
Perfect.
And you can dig up all the information.
We'd be honoured to do that.
The other thing I wanted to mention this evening is rental properties. And I know back over the years we talked about rental properties, and we have problems with rental properties, keeping their properties up and things like that. And I know of a couple now that I've been dealing with for the past couple of months that I think, it's different if it's an individual and they don't have their grass mowed. But when there's a rental property, this is income for people. I think it's awful that people next door, they come once a month and do their properties, and sometimes they don't even bother coming, but we send them a letter. And there's a number of them around the city, and residents are, there's a couple of areas that I've passed along to our staff, but I'm saying to people is ridiculous that, you got to live next to somebody if they don't keep up their property. And it's more than just the grass. There's a lot of issues with problems, but if we have rental issues that are not being looked after, I think we need to have a tougher fist with them, especially if they're not doing the work and we're after them. I think we should look at them in a different light. And I received an email actually a little while ago from our engineering department. Am I to understand that there's no more permits being given out for water, or is that what we've talked about today with the water conservation, just the companies? Because when I was reading it, it looked like that nobody is allowed to do anything for car washes and that. That's not what I'm reading. Okay.
Nothing as it related to our use of water in the city for this summer has changed beyond what is our
Nothing has
regular
changed.
conservation
So
order.
if a group wants to have a car wash
They can.
or anything like that, they can. They got to come and get a
They
permit.
got to get a
first.
permit. They're not on a ban. They can.
No. We haven't received any applications, and we want to be the ones to turn the water off because of, the use of
Well,
our
you
fire
can
hydrants.
do it. They got to have the hoses with the stop measures
Yes.
and all of that. But let's be perfectly honest. If we could, I would discourage them. Quite frankly, I'd like them to come up with other mechanisms of funding, of raising funds, and doing car washes. I appreciate that they have been in the past somewhat successful. But opening up hydrants to do it is an unacceptable practice, as Regional Fire will tell you. Having these car washes spilling water everywhere while we've got commercial car washes in the city raises complaints for us from our corporate community. And there are all kinds of initiatives to raise money that I think we can endeavor to support and be engaged in. But if we get applications to do it, yes, we'll approve them. I don't think we have a ban on of any nature.
No,
we
that's...
would go ahead with it, yeah.
I wasn't
Yeah.
sure exactly what it was that, just got there in a second, just glanced at it. The other thing I want to mention, of course, is the Mount Pearl Harry J. Bartlett Senior Blades. They have their major fundraiser on, which is a trip for 4 to Myrtle Beach.
I'm already in on 4 tickets,
And
girl.
they have tickets, and they just wanted to mention it.
Jason Silver is
and
taking me with him if he wants.
And they have tickets, and they wanted to, of course, support from the residents of Mount Pearl. So they are actively selling their tickets, and Harry dropped off a pile of tickets to me to leave and see if anybody was interested in buying them. And he said that, this is one of the major fundraisers that they do, and of course, so we can tell the Senior Blades are going to be on the go again this year, which is great, and we certainly will be there to support them as individual councillors. I know I attended a number of games last year and look forward to seeing them come even further again this year.
They did well last year.
They did really well.
Councillor Edwell.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just one item, I guess, and I just wanted to extend some congratulations for a couple of events that happened on July 1st here in the city. First of all, I'd like to congratulate and thank members of the Legion down on Park Avenue for putting together, once again, a very classy and a very well-run ceremony to recognize Memorial Day. Of course, it's a very solemn anniversary, and as always, they put together a ceremony that really marks the day the way that it should be. I also want to make mention of all the various members of the various cadet corps that participated. I know in their uniforms they braved the heat, and kudos to them because it was nice to have a short sleeve shirt on, but they were there with their uniforms and their berets, and God knows they were warm. So kudos to them. Congratulations for their effort in participating in that ceremony. As well, I wanted to just make mention and congratulate the staff and the volunteers who put together the city's Canada Day celebrations at St. David's that afternoon. Once again, a very well-run event. Kudos to Krista Tucker and all the staff here, as well as the volunteers. I think we had the biggest crowd that we've ever had, I think, over at St. David. Most of the council also attended the event, so you guys can probably back me up on that. But I think it was a very well-run event, beautiful afternoon, so kudos to everyone involved.
Thank you, sir, very much. Councillor Tessier.
I'd like to join Andrew actually in commending the staff who had everything to do with the success of the Canada Day celebrations at the field. It was absolutely wonderful.
I
know
had to miss all that this year.
I had friends come in.
Unusual.
I had friends
You
come in
too.
from Salmon Cove actually, just for Mount Pearl's celebrations.
Hey,
And
how nice is that?
they had a ball.
That's
Not
good.
only did they have a ball, but they said this is it. From now on, Canada Day celebrations are going to happen in Mount Pearl.
Perfect.
So it was wonderful. And I know that a lot of local people, we saw a lot of our own residents, our friends and neighbors there as well, and it was wonderful. I was there from start to finish actually, and it was tremendous. It was kind of fun watching the kids' expressions when the bouncy castles deflate. It's excellent to watch their faces. It's just like, holy smokes, what's happening? But it was wonderful. And I also want to commend the staff of Community Services. I know that last year at the Remembrance Day ceremony with the Legion, we had expressed concerns with the sound system. And this year, Community Services stepped up and made sure that they had a stellar sound system. It was beautiful. Eastern Audio was there, actually, and it made it much more enjoyable and pleasurable to hear, of course, the names of the people who were laying wreaths and who they were laying wreaths in honor of, as it should be. It was really a lovely service and very, very warm. We were happy to see the warm day, because I remember lots of days when we were down there with wishing we had our mitts on July 1st. Everybody has on their desk a brochure about Mount Pearl City Days, happening July 20th to the 22nd. There's a schedule of events. It's also on our website, of course. It is going to be non-stop from Friday evening with the pig roast until Sunday. We have the Mega Birthday Blitz and concert. We'd encourage everybody, of course, to come, local residents, of course, and visitors alike. We know that City Days is a huge event. It's a big deal, and we're really pleased, and a lot of work has gone into this. And I'm sure that everybody's going to have a great time. If they look at the itinerary, there's something there for absolutely everyone. So
Do I have to find a child to take down so I can see the Dr. Seuss the Larks?
Absolutely not.
Come with me.
Put
wanna
on
go
your
see
cat
it.
in the hat and go.
No, I don't want to have to go with an unruly child, Counselor.
No.
I want to go with a good child.
My child is not on
Oh,
Right?
goodness.
No, I'm talking about you.
me. On me.
Yeah, I'm
No.
looking for a
Taking
child.
my grandson.
Listen, everybody is
So
welcome
I've got
to
to
everything.
borrow a youngster, is what you're telling me. That's what I had to do to go to one at the theater.
To go watch
Didn't work
Dr.
out well.
Seuss and the Lorax. Oh, listen,
I can hire you for that too.
I actually,
Lots of kids will go over here.
yeah, I actually tease whenever a cartoon movie comes out that I need to borrow somebody's child now because mine are grown and I need to
Yeah.
have an excuse to go in and sit down.
Yeah, I had to do that. I had to borrow.
grandchildren.
But not only did I have to borrow a child, which happened at the time to be a 10-year-old girl, I had to take her friend as well, so I could see this film, which shall remain nameless. But
Oh, is it the one with the
how
the
did
cartoon?
10-year-old girls get to eat that much? That's all I want to know. Anyway, move on.
No, I didn't notice that.
These kids can't. These kids can eat a farm
Catch. Yes.
on their way to dinner.
Yes, they can.
Anyway, go.
I have 3 teenagers. Tell me about it.
Yeah. Well, you're bankrupt. You're done.
Oh, listen, I'll never be. There'll never be any money as long as they're eating. Also, for the Mega Birthday Blitz, the deputy mayor pointed this out, and I'm so glad that he did. Parking is always a concern down around that area on
Yeah.
Sunday. Sorry, there's going to be a free shuttle service from Mount Pearl Intermediate School and from the Mount Park Community Center as well on Sunday. So if anybody wants any more clarification about that on times, they can certainly look at our website again or give us a call.
Gonna be
And because he is a doer, the Director of Public Works has clarified the animal control regulations for us. After hours, we will respond to dead or injured animal calls only.
Okay.
Roaming animals, we do not respond to after hours. That would get very, very expensive for the city because that means calling somebody in, of course. And if animals are simply roaming and not dead or injured, it really isn't a case of an emergency. So that's just for the clarification of the public. And I thank you, Director Antle, for being so speedy and efficient with that information for us.
Maybe spring to fall we should not have an after hours. Maybe we should have a seasonal.
We've actually had that discussion before. We've had that discussion
You know?
at Public Council before, and it's definitely something we can
Animal
look at
control
for fall
officer
and
in
winter.
place.
Yeah, because it's not always that easy.
So this person that called me, there's nothing we can do for them. If
Nope.
they take a dog, they have to be prepared to hold the dog.
They have to be prepared to hold the dog or they let the dog go. Yeah.
Which is a very difficult thing to do.
Pardon me? Or the wildlife call you. Or the...
Wildlife call, he said you received.
Yeah, but it's a very difficult thing to do. There's no doubt about that.
You heard what happened in St. John's last week, did you?
No.
Or last Thursday, Friday, I guess it was. No, it was on the weekend, so it happened Monday. There was a family of seagulls that did a nest on top of a like 3-story building of a housing unit in somewhere in town in St. John's. And on Sunday, 2 of the little birds fell out of the nest
Oh, dear.
and were damaged on the ground, and they could get nobody to help. Much like would be the case, right? Anyway, the mayor ended up dealing with it. O'Keefe himself ended up having to go and actually address it and deal with it and get this thing taken care of. But I know we'll handle an injured
I was
animal.
going to say, that's
but,
the difference. Injured animals we will handle.
Not as easy as you think. Our experience is not as strong as it should be. But having said that, I can't help but think sometimes we should have an extended period of animal control, spring to fall. It would have to be a budget exercise, and there's union implications and labor implications. But boy, it would be nice, I think, because it's in the evening that you have roaming animals.
And if I could add to that, if we have repeat offenders, that's something that we'd certainly need to look at as well, because the taxpayers ultimately are paying for this service.
Yep.
And if we have people who habitually let their animals roam, and we have to habitually respond to the call,
No, I think that. Yeah, I think there should be.
there has to be something in place as well to prevent that from happening or to act as a deterrent.
Amen. Anyway, all new business done. Deputy Mayor Locke, floor is yours. You got nothing at all. I'm going to make. You want to make reference to Beckland Park?
You can if you want.
Well, you go right ahead. You go right ahead.
I totally forgot I had it here on my desk. I did attend the opening. I wasn't there for speeches or anything because I had a patient.
I was brilliant.
I had a patient that
Just
I
like
was
you should
driving
know.
and the machines broke and I was late because I drive usually once a week for cancer and the machines broke and I was late getting there. But I did arrive shortly after you had spoken and stayed for an hour or so. And it's the only lead building, I think, in this region that's commercial, and they had a show, and actually even after some of you guys were gone, they turned the lights off and
Did all that with
did
us there as
did all
well.
that again.
Yep.
And it was fantastic, the lighting and that was fantastic. And one of the things they give out, actually I brought this for Councillor Walsh, and he's not here today, for his boat as a compass, and this is one of the
It's
things.
not. It's a watch.
The watch, well, yeah, but it also is the
It's a sundial.
sundial. So, yeah, I thought Councillor Walsh would appreciate it for his boat and that. But anyway, he's not here, but I will save it there for him. But it was a nice little treat to get something.
Well, I'm not
like this.
giving mine back, so
They,
there.
anyway,
I did, and I didn't have to claim it.
no, you didn't have to claim it.
No.
But anyway, I brought mine along for Councillor Walsh.
He'll
because I thought
appreciate
he
it,
would
I'm sure.
Appreciate it. Anyway, I just want to mention that it's in the Beckland Business Park, and it was great to be up there to represent the city, especially as Chair of Economic Development.
Amen. You know, they're building 6 buildings there right as we speak. I mean, it's the amount of economic development activity that's being undertaken in this region is phenomenal. That concludes everything on the agenda today. I will accept a motion to adjourn. Councillor Ledwell moves. We stand adjourned. Thank you, everybody.